Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to today's Wednesday Sangha. So we'll give another minute or so for everyone to log on.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Guruji.
And what our Krishna Prabhupada. Are you the host?
Yes, Guruji, I'll be hosting today's session.
So would you give me screen sharing?
Yes, Guruji.
Excuse me.
I've made you co-host. Now you should be able to share screen.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone, for joining today's Sangha. We can now begin. So today's speaker is His Grace Amritananda Prabhuji. And today's class topic is From Imperfections to Perfection, the Bhakti Yoga Way. So to give a brief introduction of Prabhuji, Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, and he joined our movement in the early 90s through ISKCON Chowpatty, Mumbai. He's one of the founding members of our local temple, ISKCON Central New Jersey, and has served in various capacities there as secretary, Sunday school teacher, head cook, book distributor, and facilitator of many outreach programs. And professionally, he has a background in electronics and telecommunications engineering and over 25 years of business experience, and serves currently as the Chief Revenue Officer for a Pune-based startup in the artificial intelligence area. So we are honored to have Prabhuji on our forum today, on our Wednesday Sangha forum. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for joining us and willing to speak. Over to you.
Thank you, Mataji, for the kind words. I hope today's session would be productive to all of you. What I have done is, I always consider myself, when I have this seva of doing class pravachan, is, all of us are familiar with speakers. So if you know how a speaker works, is actually there are those electric signals which are coming, and that signal is coming from another source. So similarly, I'm just like a loudspeaker, and I hope the fidelity of whatever I'm speaking, that sound, is in line with what Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, that's what the source is. So all credits to Shri Guru and Shri Gauranga. So as Mataji said, is what we're going to talk about is the 9 stages of bhakti. Devotion is synonymous with bhakti. Actually, bhakti is not just devotion. We will see what bhakti is. And then what really are imperfections. We'll understand what is perfection and how from this state of imperfection, literally anyone, any jiva, could get to the state of perfection. Hare Krishna. So what we're doing is that we are actually studying, not just reading. Prabhupada said, scrutinize my books. So we are studying the Shastra. Excuse me. Romapad Maharaj was asked a question that for this age, it is just chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. That's the recommended process, Hare Nam, Hare Nam, Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. You must be familiar with this mantra. Kalau nasti eva nasti eva nasti gateranyata. Meaning to say that in this age of Kali, there is no other way, there's no other way, there's no other way but for the chanting of the holy name. Now, the holy name is so powerful that just chanting it, all the purports, all the knowledge of the Vedas is revealed to the person, right? So the question was asked, this being the case, then why do we need to study the Shastras? Why are we having this Sangha in the evening? Why do we need to have Bhagavatam class in the morning? So Romapad Maharaj gave a nice answer. So these are some points, throughout the presentation, there will be these little points to note. So you could make note of that and keep this in your mind, and that will help us get a deeper understanding of what is being discussed. So he had said it is necessary, important for us to study the Shastras so that whatever knowledge that we get would help us, not only chant properly, but also do it in the right mood. Meaning to say that, just chanting is currently we are not at that state where we have pure chanting, correct? There's a lot of aparadh we may be doing. There could be the nama bhas stage at best we may have reached. So what happens is, with this knowledge, Divya Gyan, the transcendental knowledge, the spiritual knowledge, what it does is it helps us do the right thing instead of doing things right. Doing things right is an iterative process. Iterative process is, we're expending time and effort and energy. Time is something that is fast running out. In fact, our scriptures say that with every breath that we're taking, it's eating up into a quota. People usually count lifespan in number of years. Actually, it is each person, based on his karmic activities, has a certain quota of breaths assigned to him or her. So from the time the person is born, we are breathing, and every breath is reducing that particular quota. Now, how much time that takes, some may finish it in 80 years, some may finish it in 2 years, some may be just stillborn, so whatever be that case, it is breaths which is taking, and it's fast running out. We do not know, when our quota gets over. So there should be an urgency to do the right thing instead of doing things right. And that's where the Shastras step in, where we need to study so that whatever activities that we do is effective. Hare Krishna. Everyone can see the screen that I'm presenting? A quick check.
Yes, Prabhuji, we
Yes,
can.
Prabhu.
Thanks. So, imperfection. I like this little picture which I picked up from the internet, Google Images. Imperfection. In English, it is IMPERFECTION. And here there is this image of a pencil. As kids, we use this, right? With their little eraser head. So, what are these imperfections? Now, a jiva, correct, has 4 defects. Now, this is what we call the material consciousness. Material consciousness is centered around I, me, myself, mine, correct? That is what that imperfection starts from. And these defects are from committing mistakes all the way to our senses are not perfect. For example, I wear glasses because my eyesight is defective. Even if I have 20/20 vision, it is still very limited as, say, compared to an eagle who could literally see his prey from several hundreds of feet up in the sky. So we have imperfect senses, correct? Illusion. What is illusion? Illusion is nothing but where something which is not real, we think it is real, and something which is real, we say it is false. So, for example, mythology. All our Shastras, so-called quote-unquote Hindus, generations have been brainwashed by the British invaders to say that what is the absolute truth is a mythology. Mythology is a fairy tale, and we've grown up just accepting that lie to be the truth. Of course, there's a history behind it. They said it is a mythology because India is like several countries in one land mass, different languages, different customs, different cuisines, but still, what is knitting it all together was the faith, the religion, the Sanatan Dharma, whether it is in the east, north, south, west, wherever it is, central India. So British had the policy of divide and rule. So to break this up, the backbone is they started discrediting, and they said, this is mythology. This is all mythology. It is all fairy tales. And we grew up believing that, not us, our grandparents, our great grandparents, and so on and so forth. So what has happened is we've all been in that illusion that whatever is false, we accept it as true. And whatever is true, we think it is false. And of course, everyone commits mistake. Who doesn't commit mistake? To err is human. And then there's another saying that to blame it on someone else is also being human, because this is a typical scenario. Something goes wrong, especially in the corporate world. People are more focused so that nothing sticks on them. And they do this passing the parcel kind of a scenario. And the next is tendency to cheat, right? Now, we all have this tendency to cheat. A cheater will get cheated. So understand, if we get cheated is because we've had this kind of innate tendency to cheat and therefore to be cheated. So these are the 4 defects, or what you could call the imperfection, and all that arises from this I, me, myself, mine consciousness. It's kind of polluted. Now, if you look at this analogy of imperfection, if you refer to this picture on the left, what it says, okay, let's deep dive into this a little bit to get an understanding and put it into perspective, what these defects, imperfections are. Okay, if you look at the pencil is similar to what we have a gross and subtle body. Gross body is something that we can touch, feel, right? These senses, the 5 senses, and the subtle body is made up of the mind, intelligence, and the false ego. Now, activity, what does a pencil do? We write with it, correct? So that is analogous to the activity, which can either be karma. Karma is every action has a corresponding reaction, or it could be vikarma, which is heinous actions, not in, how do you say, it violates all the principles of the Shastra. Or it could be akarma. Akarma is something which is above karma and vikarma. That means you're performing actions, but there are no reactions to it. And there is only one kind of an activity which has a karma, no consequence. And that is acts of devotional service. Hare Krishna. Then what do you do with a pencil? You write stuff with a pencil. So our life story, correct? So this is the body, the mind, and the false ego and the intelligence, the subtle and the gross body. That's the pencil. We're writing a life story with it. And this life story is not just from womb to tomb of this lifetime, but it goes beyond. Because, when we die, the body dies, it doesn't mean it's the end of everything. We are the soul, it is eternal, it goes into the next body. So our life story is we're writing. And in this lifetime, it's just like, look at it as we're writing, really shabby handwriting, mistakes, grammatical error. Okay, what are these that we're doing with our life story? It is the 6 enemies that we have: Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Hankar, Matsarya. Right? So this is the life story that we're scribbling, scratching off, whatever else it is. Then the eraser. Eraser is nothing but an opportunity to rectify. We've all used erasers in our life. So if I make a mistake, galti ho gaya, theek hai, I rub it off and I again restart, do it, make a correction. What is the eraser? Eraser are the instructions that we get from Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. So never mind what we have been. It is more important where we are at now and what we can be. Keep this in mind, dear devotees. From the greatest sinner has been transformed into the greatest devotee, Valmiki being the case, Valmiki Rishi. Valmiki Rishi, right? He's the one who's the author of the Ramayana, correct? So this is the instructions of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra, is this little rubber thing that we have over here. And then finally, we need to put it to use. What is the use of a pencil with an eraser? And nothing is being done with it, correct? So these instructions are the Divya Gyan that we get, correct? That is just knowledge. Knowledge is something which can here today, gone tomorrow. Something else can come and replace it. But when we put it into use, it becomes realization. For example, I come from a community of Saraswat Brahmins, and then we have something called Madgane. How many people on this forum know what is Madgane? You can unmute and say if you know it. If you don't know it, it's fine. Okay, so you don't know what is Madgane. I'll tell you what is Madgane. Now I'm giving you a little bit gyan about Madgane. Madgane is a dessert. It is made with chana dal, gur, rice flour, something like payasam, if you're familiar with that. And it's thickened, and it's had either plain with cashews and raisins. You could eat it plain, or also with idli is the combination. Now, all of you have knowledge about what is Madgane, but until and unless you haven't actually eaten and tasted Madgane, you really do not know what is Madgane. So that eating and tasting Madgane is the realization part. So there is knowledge, you put it into practice, it becomes realization. So this entire shastras that we have, the gurus, sadhus, whatever instructions they are leaving for us, correct? It's very important to put it into use. Otherwise, it is just knowledge, and knowledge over a period of time can get deteriorated. However, the realizations remain. Hare Krishna. Points to note over here is, I was very fortunate. I had a mentor early on in my life. I was just a teenager, and he took me with him to South India, and that's where I did my studies. And before college started, I worked a few months. He had a small little factory which used to make these electronic components, resistors. And of course, as a teenager, you're not really interested in work. You really want to have fun and stuff like that. So I would do things haphazardly. And then he gave me a very important instruction, which has stayed with me for the rest of my life. Small little things make a job perfect, but perfection is no small job. So we are talking about here imperfections to perfections, correct? But please understand that this perfection is no small job, and little steps that we take will bring us over there. जैसे कहते हैं, बूंद बूंद से दरिया बनता है. With drops, oceans are made. Hare Krishna. So, bhakti. As I told you, people think bhakti is devotion, but actually, bhakti has three components: love, devotion, and service. Correct? These are the three components. Devotion means wholehearted enthusiasm, single minded focus, right? Service is the platform in which love can be expressed and reciprocated. So bhakti has these, excuse me, has these three components of loving, devotional, service. Hare Krishna. What is devotion? The dictionary defines devotion as love, enthusiasm for a person, activity, or a cause. That is the English dictionary definition. Now, a better definition is from Britannica Encyclopedia, right? What is bhakti? They say it is a movement emphasizing the mutual, intense, emotional attachment. See this attachment and love of a devotee towards a personal God, and very important, and of the God for the devotee. So bhakti is reciprocal. It's reciprocal. So just as we are having loving devotional service with a personal God, Krishna, right? And how Krishna is reciprocating with each one of us. So that is bhakti. Now, what is Krishna consciousness? It is that process which will awaken this love of God which is lying dormant in all of us, as per whatever the instructions Guru Sadhu Shastra have given us. So this is what bhakti is, and this is what Krishna consciousness is all about. So another point to note over here is a shloka from Bhagavatam. Sarvaipum samparo dharmo yato bhakti radhokshaje ahitaki apratihata yayatma suprasiddhiti. The supreme occupation. Occupation is all of us are doing something. Even doing nothing is doing nothing. Sometimes we ask, kya chal raha hai? Kuch nahi, time pass. That time pass is also doing something. The supreme occupation, dharma. Dharma has many connotations and meaning. In this sense, it is the occupation. Dharma is also known as the essence. Dharma is also religion. There are different meanings for dharma. In this context, it is the supreme occupation for all humanity, where you can have loving devotional service, bhakti, unto Krishna. And such devotional service should be unmotivated, uninterrupted, unconditional, to completely satisfy the self. Typically, whenever we are doing something, there's always something back we are expecting in return. So that is not pyar. In Hindi, the word for love is pyar. So if you're expecting something back in return, that becomes vyapar, transaction. I do this, I get this. But bhakti has nothing in return. No going back to Godhead, no liberation. Doesn't matter even if I don't perfect my life. That is what bhakti is. Hare Krishna. Can someone please read this? It's a nice quote by Srila Prabhupada. Can some volunteer please unmute and read it? We'll make this interactive, okay? You can ask questions. You could have a realization, make a point, please unmute. And then when I'll ask questions of you. Hare Krishna. So someone
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. May I read, Prabhu?
Please.
When transcendental devotional service, by which love for Krishna is attained, is executed by the senses, it is called sadhana bhakti, or the regulative discharge of devotional service. Such devotion eternally exists within the heart of every living entity. The awakening of this eternal devotion is the potentiality of devotional service in practice. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 105.
Hare Krishna. Thank you for that, Mataji. So let us examine this Prabhupada's quotation. Okay. What is devotional service? Okay. Now, bhakti is something which is there in every jiva. Very important to understand. It is not something which has been imposed on us. When Prabhupada's movement was a fledgling ISKCON, a lot of youngsters were joining, hundreds and thousands, because they were so disillusioned, correct? It was that hippie culture. Prabhupada made them from hippie to happy, correct? So, and then the parents started getting worried and they filed a court case that this is all brainwashing. Brainwashing. Prabhupada, in his unique Prabhupada style, he's saying, yes, we are brainwashing. Your brains are so filthy, we are cleaning it up. What is your complaint about it? So, but actually, bhakti is not something which is external. So the example given, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu from Radha Gopinath Mandir, he has given this example. A baby, correct? A newborn baby. Now, if you see a newborn baby, right, can he do anything? Actually, it's helpless. The human baby is the most helpless of all species. Can't do anything, just lies there, can't even move its neck. Then gradually muscles develop, he can move his neck, then he may sit up. Then he learns how to walk. Now, learning how to walk is actually, he'll hold the parent's finger and he'll take a few steps. Then he'll hold the furniture, table, chair. Then they'll take a few steps on their own and plop, they fall down. It looks so cute. Then they go running. And you know how these toddlers are, they're unsteady. And then they go running all the way like Usain Bolt, under 100 meters in under 10 seconds. So how is it that potentiality is there to walk? It's just been manifested or revealed, or it has been aided by the parents and the furniture or whatever else you say, the support systems. Similarly, a baby bird can fly because it has the potentiality to fly. Can a human being fly no matter what you teach that human child? No, it doesn't have that. Similarly, bhakti is there within all of us. It just needs to be expressed. And, Guru, Sadhu, Shastras are giving us their finger and we are holding it. And that's how it is being manifested. It is being expressed. Hare Krishna. So bhakti is another word. Remember, I told you dharma is the essence. Like essence, you can look at it as essence is the defining characteristic of a thing, in absence of which it ceases to be. So, for example, the dharma of sugar is sweetness. The dharma of chili is spiciness. You can't separate spiciness. The dharma of water is wetness. So, if it is water, it will be wet. If it is sugar, it will be sweet. If it is not sweet, it is not sugar. Similarly, the essence of the jiva, what is it in Chaitanya Charitamrita? It says, Jivera Swarupa Hoya, Krishnera Nitya Dasa. Meaning to say, the essence of the jiva, Swarup, is it is eternally the servant of Krishna. Hare Krishna. So, our consciousness, what we're talking about is this consciousness. Where is a consciousness? Is it filthy like a gutter, or is it spotless like an altar? Of course, we all know the altars, right? How clean it is, spotless. Or is it filthy like a gutter? Let's see where we are at. Now, there are these 6 stages of conscious evolution. Now, the stages of bhakti, it gradually begins, if you see on the left side, from Shraddha, which is called the initial faith that we have, and all the way to perfection, which is called prema, pure love of Godhead, unmotivated, uninterrupted, unconditional. These 3 aspects, correct? So, when it starts over here, that's called Kanishta Adhikari. Now, typically, jivas are in this category. What you see in purple is material consciousness, and in yellow is the spiritual consciousness. So, Annamaya is just Khaneka, and you have many people, right? Eat to live or live to eat. That is the situation. This animalistic. Pranamaya. Pranamaya is then it's no longer self, we're doing altruistic work for others. Then there is Manomaya, right? Life as the mind, dictates of the mind. Then you come a little bit, you have the Vedic. Vedic gives the different processes, okay? You gradually start elevating your consciousness. Then whatever is the Vedic knowledge, as we said, we put it into practice. That comes to the Vigyan, realization. And then finally, Anandamaya Abhyas, that is the pure love of God. So there are these different stages from the spiritual consciousness, how a person gets elevated. So once you get into little faith, you need. Faith is something which is intrinsic. It's hard-coded, you can say, into our DNA. You cannot actually survive without faith. Even the person who's faithless, let's say the atheistic, people usually think faith is synonymous with religion. But faith is more like something like confidence or trust, you can say. To give you an example, tomorrow morning when you go to work, okay, and you're on the road, you're doing 40, 50 miles an hour. There's no median in the middle, and there's traffic coming from the opposite side. Okay, they're also zipping by you. Now you have faith that the person across, won't just swerve into your lane. You have faith that he'll obey the traffic laws, just as he has faith that you'll obey the traffic laws and won't do something silly. Of course, we all do silly things, and that creates a disaster. But that is what faith is. From here, we'll go to India for a vacation. You sit in an aeroplane, you're literally entrusting your life into the hands of a stranger. You don't know who he is. You don't know what the state of his mind is. You don't know. But you have faith in the company that, yes, they do all their checks and balances to make sure this guy is not drunk, he's alert, he has all the necessary qualifications, etc. So this faith is not just in human beings, it's even there in the animal kingdom. When a small calf is born, correct, to the wildebeest or whatever it is. Now what it does, it is always in the company of the elders. Now, if the elders see a tiger or a lioness on a prowl, they just run. Now what, the little calf doesn't think that Oh, why are you running? It's too far away, the distance, whatever. It doesn't sit. It instinctively runs along with the parent because it has full faith and confidence that over here I'm protected. So this is what faith is. You require faith. And with this faith, because why faith is necessary, is it is necessary because we will be getting stuff. Information will be coming, which will be mind bending. It could be mind numbing because it's going to be beyond all that we know, right? So we need to have that little faith that, okay, I'll keep an open mind. You need to have an open mind. Like they say, the mind is like a parachute. It works best when it is open. Imagine the parachute doesn't open. Plop, will come down, correct? So this faith helps us understand. It is, who had said it? I forget whether it was Martin Luther King or a very nice quote. There's a dark stairwell. You can't see anything. Faith is the ability to take that step when you can't see anything. So this is faith is required. Then we have sadhu sangha. What is sadhu sangha? Is association of devotee. Who is a sadhu? Typically, people from India, and most of us here would be from the Indian subcontinent. We have the culture ki sadhu, someone jo bhagwa kapda pehne hai, maybe shaved head, shikha, he has dandi in his hand, bhiksham dehi. So we think they are sadhus. The correct definition of sadhu is not external. Sadhu is consciousness. A person whose consciousness is absorbed in Krishna is a sadhu. Hare Krishna. So association of devotees, sadhu sangha. Excuse me. What happens with sadhu sangha? Automatically, bhajana kriya happens. That is devotional service, regulative devotional service. So whatever it is, you have rules and regulations, right? Do's and don'ts. Don't eat meat, no intoxication, no gambling, etc. And there are do's, do chanting, whatever it is. So that's what it gets started. And when we get engaged in this and we do it seriously, then we can notice that all these offenses are gradually moving out. Kam, krodh, lobh, moh, hankar. And we can see it in our practical lives. So it doesn't matter, looking back, and if you see where you are at now, there is definitely some improvement. And the rate of improvement is directly proportionate to the intensity and the seriousness with which we are adopting these processes. Then once these offenses, removal of offenses, then it becomes steady. Kya hota hai is initially, especially in this Kanishta Adhikari stage, one leg is in the material boat, other leg is in the spiritual boat. We have been used to a lifestyle, and the goods and the bad, everything, we are used to it. But either something new has come and, oh, it makes sense, it looks interesting, and we're getting some little taste of it. So we are here and we are here. So it's something like, if I can use the word, pardon me for using this expression, there's the saying in Hindi, dhobi ka kutta na ghar ka na ghat ka. Dhobi is a washerman, and he goes to the ghat to wash all the clothes. And the dog is loyal, he follows him. But the dog is confused. He doesn't know whether he belongs to the ghat. Dhobi spends a lot of time at the ghat. Or when he comes back home, kidhar ka hu? So that's what happens when one leg is on the boat over here. But the nature is such that spiritual, the Krishna conscious boat, spiritual, and the material consciousness boat, they're both going in the opposite direction. Now you have this big mantra in corporate world. Oh, work-life balance, karne ka, work-life balance, okay? There is no such thing as spiritual material balance. It's an either or condition. So we could be sitting in the boat, as Madhupati Prabhu gives the example. You could be rowing your spiritual boat, doing everything. But if it is tied to the tree on the material bank, you really won't get far. You'll expend all the energy and effort, and finally you will give up. So a decision comes that, you have to jump whole and soul. And when that happens, that progress, you just rapidly get on. So typically we think that, oh, I've been chanting for such a long time, I haven't, got the taste. oh, I've been doing this, but still mere mein itne khot hai. Whatever be the case, please understand that the reason all these things are happening is internal. Like Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj says, it's always, whatever things go wrong is, as I said, we don't want to take blame. We'll always look outside and we always are looking for faults in others. It is, so Maharaj has said, Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has said, when the faults in others, overwhelm you, stop, introspect, find faults within. No one can harm you if you don't harm yourself. Meaning to say that when we are all one, understanding is when we do ninda, we are harming ourselves. But if we are finding faults in ourselves, at least we can identify what the problem is, and then we can take corrective action and no longer will be under that burden of that problem. So, उधर से आते हैं ये offenses निकल गया, we become steady. Once we are steady, then that taste develops. After that taste, we actually get that attachment for Krishna. So all these things which we are doing, deity worship, dressing them, bathing them, feeding them, worshipping them, because one is, it's a personal. Bhagwan, people say, is light. Some people say God is energy. Some people say God is love. Yes, he is all that. But all that comes from the person, Sarva Karana Karanam, Krishna. Correct? You develop attachment for Krishna. And once that attachment for Krishna comes, right, then you have that bhava, ecstasy. We read, right, in the Shastra, symptoms of ecstasy. And then it progresses finally as prema, pure love of God. Hare Krishna. Excuse me. Till such time, we are only engaged in activity, and all our activity dovetails into these four main categories: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Prabhupada says, dog runs on four legs, we run on four wheels. Just a little sophisticated, that's the only difference. And all these activities, actions, they incur karma, and karma is what traps us into the cycle of birth, old age, disease, and death. It's this temporary cycle. It keeps going on and on and on, since time immemorial, and it will continue if we do not make use of this human life to get out of this cycle. Hare Krishna. So if you'd like to know more about this, I'll humbly request all of you to please study the Nectar of Devotion. Vedabase.io. Prabhupada's books are there. You could just read, study this Nectar of Devotion. It will show how from this preliminary faith to get all the way to prema. Hare Krishna. So, there are 9 processes of Bhakti Yoga. Now, first one is what they say, Shravanam, hearing. We hear, hear. You see Krishna through your ears, not this eyes, through the ears. Shravanam, hearing. And who Parikshit Maharaj is the personality who embodied, who perfected this particular process of hearing. Parikshit Maharaj just had 7 days to live. He's fortunate, he knows that in 7 days, gave up his kingdom, everything, sat down and listened to Bhagavatam. Day and night, 24/7, literally. And with full attention, that's how we hear. Typically, our hearing is distracted in the sense that, someone is going to be giving a pravachan, and then someone enters the room, all the heads will turn to see who has come. But the hearing with full attention and full focus, there's a pastime of Prabhupada. When he was new, he met his Guru Maharaj, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, and they were in a dham. And then there was a lecture, and then later on, all the initiated disciples and senior disciples, they said, oh, Gurudev, we'll go and, do darshan of all the mandirs in the nearby area and whatever it is, in the dham. Prabhupada sat there, listening. So hearing, that is the importance of hearing, Shravanam. Kirtanam, Kirti, Kirti is to glorify, chanting. So chanting is when you're doing pravacham, that is a form of kirtanam. When you're doing the kirtan, correct? Sankirtan with many other devotees with musical instrument. When you're doing japa. So these are all the different categories which all come under the umbrella of kirtanam. And Sukadev Goswami had this perfected liberation by just kirtanam. Vishnu Smaranam, always remembering Krishna, that is Prahlad Maharaj. Archanam, Prithu Maharaj, the deity worship. Vandanam, prayer. What is prayer? Prayer is a communication between you and Krishna. It can be formal and elaborate with all the mantras to be recited. It could be something which is very, very personal. Krishna is your ever well-wisher. How you would speak to your beloved, how you would speak with your friend, a confidant. That way, you could have a prayer. That was Akruraji. Dasyam, Hanuman, executing the orders. Sakhyam, Arjun, serving as a friend, serving the lotus feet, Pada Sevanam, Mother Lakshmi, and complete surrender. If you see, the Bhagavad Gita has many instructions in the 700 odd verses. The summum bonum of all that, finally Krishna says, Sarva dharman parityaja mam ekam sharanam braja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshashyami ma suchaha. Abandon all varieties of religion. Just surrender unto me. Surrender what? Surrender this false ego. Okay? I will take care of you. Or whatever is a sin past, don't worry. I will deliver you. That is Krishna's promise. Bali Maharaj. He surrendered everything. He just put his head down. Vamandev put his foot on his head. Now, though you see these arrows, it is not sequential, okay? Any one of this process a person takes to can have perfection in his or her life. Now, the thought may come, oh, Sukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, Sukadev Goswami and Prahlad Maharaj. Who am I? Right? That may come, a feeling. Yes, we are literally nobodies. Kya haisiyat hai hamari to get engaged in bhakti. But keep in mind that the mercy, of Krishna coming through the Guru Parampara enables literally anyone from Jagai and Madhai, anybody to perfect their life. That is the opportunity. Krishna is waiting for us to come back to him. We are not interested, but he's waiting more than what we want to get there. Hare Krishna. And of course, Amrish Maharaj attained perfection by engaging in all the processes. But what the Shastras, what the Gurus and Acharyas tell us, this age is so degraded, the condition, that just the Shravanam and Kirtanam, perfection, it'll come. So that's why we hear. Hearing is so important. Reading is so important. Reading is a form of Shravanam. Whatever you've heard, Yare Dekhe Tara Kaho Krishna Upadesha, share it with others. Hare Krishna. And then the 9 stages, it's a repetition. It will take us from the initial faith, Adav Shraddha, all the way to Prema. So this is very important. Many years ago, I was massively overweight, almost 250 pounds. And then went to the doctor and was diagnosed with diabetes. And she says, you need to get your act together. I said, okay, let's get the act together. So I said, I'm going to lose weight. And as a kid and as a young man, I used to love running. But, sedentary lifestyle was sab band ho gaya. So I said, let's get back to it. So I had joined this local LA Fitness. You must be aware of it. And there was this nice little poster which said, what gets measured gets improved, and be inspired to perspire. And now I can see how this is relevant even in our spiritual practices. we should always benchmark where we are at. If there is this goal of prema, I should know where I am at and always endeavor with enthusiasm to get to the next step. And perspire is do stuff. Whatever instructions, so many instructions are there. Follow it, put it into practice. Not just a philosophical appreciation, a mental, looks good, very nice. Then raat gaye, baat gaye. No, put it into practice. Then these results come. Of course, I dropped my weight down. I came down to 170 pounds. I ran the marathon and everything was hunky-dory over there. But this is what helped attain the goal, and the same way in our spiritual practices. Always be conscious of where we are at and have that goal that, okay, I'm here at Bhajana Kriya. I want to get to this Anartha Nivriti. Discuss with your buddies, discuss with the Vaishnavas, discuss with the senior person. What can I do? What is holding back? Introspect, take an inventory. Don't just go through the emotions, right? Because then it'll just become mechanical. Like all of us, people born in a Hindu family, everyone rings the bell. Everyone mandir jayenge, wo ghanti bajayenge. Aarti ke time, they'll ring the bell. You'll chant all the prayers, Sukha Karata, Dukha Harata, Varta, Vignachi. Those from Bombay will know this, Lord Ganesha's a prayer. All mechanical. Why? Because my father was doing it, my grandfather is doing it. But there's a significance, there's a science behind it. We need to understand it. Then it becomes more meaningful what we are doing. So, Prabhu's, Mataji's, what gets measured gets improved, and always be inspired to perspire. Hare Krishna. Finally, there's this analogy of driving. Most of us, I think, on the Sangha must be having a driver's license and driving. So what can driving teach us? And, how would that be applicable to our spiritual practices? Yes, of course, Amrish Maharaj used his feet to go to the temple. So yeah, we use our car to go to Sanghas and to the temple. But the analogy over here, the point that we're trying to make is that life is a journey to reach a particular destination. And this body is like the car and the soul is the driver. Now, the car can't just move on its own. The soul has to be there. The driver has to be there to, put it into gear and whatever, take it forward. So this is the analogy. Body is the vehicle, soul is the driver. Now, in driving, you have the ABCD. What is the ABCD of driving? Accelerator, brake, clutch, and there is something called the drivetrain, which makes everything move, the wheels turn and gears, whatever it is. Yeah. Sachirani, my wife, she had a friend, and she just knew only automatic car where there are only two pedals. There is the brake and the accelerator. And her husband used to drive a stick shift. Now, stick shift, if those of you are familiar, the manual, it has a clutch, it has a brake, and then the accelerator, ABC. Yeah. So when she sat in and she's saying, hey, why does your car have two brakes? She never knew what it is, two brakes. So there is this accelerator, brake, clutch, and the drivetrain. These are the components of the car. Also very important when driving is always be careful and disciplined. The road signs, obey those. There's a reason why it is there. And be careful. It's not necessary that you're the one who's at fault. There could be somebody else who's distracted. So if you're vigilant, now the same thing can be applied to our sadhana. What is it of the spiritual practices that we all engage in? A stands for association. B is for books, the Shastras. Prabhupada has given us enough books, just reading those from the small ones to Chaitanya Charitamrita. Everything, whatever is there required to get from Adav Shraddha to Prema is in these books. So please read, please study them. Make it a habit. Even if you read just one verse, one page a day, get started. Get started. So please read books. C is for chanting, japa, and D is for diet and deity worship. This is the ABCD of sadhana bhakti, and always be careful and disciplined. Always. A moment's hesitation or inattention, Maya is waiting. Now, what happens is when we are caught in this material condition, Maya says, हाँ, ये तो अभी जाल में है, किधर जाएगा ये? But the moment you put your step into the Hare Krishna boat, Maya sends all her Maharathis and even herself. And so much so is so insidious. We may think it is an act of devotional service, but it is actually a material entrapment. To give you an example, someone has the opportunity to give class, and then people will come and say, oh, Prabhuji, Mataji, what a lovely class, fantastic class. And then, you feel. No, you're not the doer. You're just a loudspeaker. You're not the doer. So though you're doing a devotional activity, that pratishtha can come up, or, someone is doing kirtan. So it can come. So we need to be very, very vigilant, extremely vigilant, or, you just slip and fall. But theek hai, even though, Prabhupada has said, you're full of imperfections. Even our japa, the quality of japa, we focus on time, acceleration, but switch that acceleration to pronunciation. Japa is like, oh, I have to do it. Those who have taken initiation 16 rounds. We have taken a vow, so I have to do it. So it goes Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Now, a good japa can be anywhere from 6 minutes to 7.5 minutes or so. Properly hearing the pronunciation, you have to hear every word distinctly. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. But because that time that it would take, I cannot give that time because there's something else I'd rather be doing. So I run through this. Then, now they have those little gadgets which they put on their finger to count, clicking. So, wo driving karega and japa ho rahe udhar because those rounds are going. Oh, I finished 108, ek round ho gaya, 2 round ho gaya. So I'm driving, my attention is on the road. The mouth is saying Hare Krishna, but the consciousness is somewhere else. Right? So there are so many different ways that we are doing japa. But that's not really how do you say, it's not effective. It's not very effective. Of course, it has some effect, marginal. It's not very effective. So when we feel relief, yeah, mera 16 round ho gaya. Okay, that's a benchmark where we should measure ourselves. So instead of saying that I have to do it, manje compulsion, instead of saying I have to do it, if I say that I get to do it, that means then I look at it as an opportunity. Same way when there's an opportunity to do seva, typically the mind will run towards convenience. Is it okay? Doable if able basis. But, Bhakti Tirth Maharaj says, when the desire to serve exceeds your capacity, but still you do it anyway, that's when divine empowerment occurs. Very profound and very, very true. Of course, you have to be practical. That's why we need the guidance of Vaishnavas, not just, blindly jump into anything and everything and burn out. But that desire, wo tadap hona chahiye. Prabhupada says, if you're not enthusiastic, act enthusiastic, you'll become enthusiastic. So, dear devotees, this is the bringing it to a close. Krishna Namanand Prabhu has says that information is meant to bring about a transformation. This is where we are. And all of us have some level of anxiety or regret. Kuch nahi hone wala hai. Action is what matters. So we have a choice, whatever we have learned in these past maybe an hour or so. We have a choice. Same old. वो कार का analogy था ना, चलती का नाम गाड़ी. I'm doing it, ठीक है, मेरे rounds हो रहे हैं. Okay, I'm here, whatever it is, वो हो रहे. कैसे भी धक्का मार के चल रहे हैं. Prabhupada has said, even though we are imperfect, because we are following a perfect process, we will achieve perfection. So, but please understand that, it is like my Guru Maharaj, His Holiness Radhanath Swami says, this material world by nature pulls you down. It just sucks you in. So if you come over here, you can't just remain here. You have to do the effort to keep rising up. Otherwise, you'll just go down. That same old will just suck you into this material daldal. So either it is Chalti Ka Naam Gadi or follow in the footsteps of the Acharya, their instructions. Take it seriously. From this philosophical mental appreciation, try to put it into practice. Just try. Even trying, with a sincere effort has fantastic results. इसका क्या है चलती का नाम गाड़ी? कभी कभी मिलेगा temporary happiness, permanent misery, or Vaikuntha. This is our choice that we have. Hare Krishna. So now we'll get into the interactive part. Maybe in 5-10 minutes we can quickly bring this to a close. Doing a time check. How much time do we have? We are getting to be on the hour. It's 9:28.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Yes, we can take a few more minutes. Question. Let's take
So, Prabhu's Matajis, you can unmute. Who would like to answer the first question for defects of material consciousness?
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
So there are 4 defects. First is to be illusion, cheating propensity, imperfect senses, and cheating propensity.
Making mistake.
Committing mistakes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you, Mataji. What are the 3 components of bhakti?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hari Bol.
Love, devotion, and service.
What are the 2 types of bhakti?
Vedic Bhakti and Raganuga.
Can you speak a little bit about Vaidhi and Raganuga, Prabhu?
Yes,
What is
Prabhu.
Vaidhi and what is Raganuga?
Vaidhi is like we are doing, that we have to do it, we get to do it, and then it becomes spontaneous. That's called Raganuga.
Very nice. Vaidhi is disciplined. Ye karne ka hai, regulations, do's and don'ts. Raganuga is I want to do it. Vaidhi mein I have to do it. I'm being disciplined, whether I like it or no. Raganuga is really love it. I want to do it. Spontaneously it happens. Thank you, Prabhu. What is the ABCD of Krishna consciousness?
Hare Krishna.
Hari Bol.
Association of devotees, books, chanting, and deity service.
That means prasadam. Now, this will be open for all very quickly. What are the challenges, some of the challenges you face, and what are the opportunities you feel? And if you share your challenges, doesn't mean that, hey, Karmi. We all have challenges.
Focusing on chanting is the challenge.
Yes, that's a big one.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Consistency is the challenge.
Ah,
Another thing is, your capacity. So you want to, serve, but you don't have capacity. That capacity can be time-wise, health-wise, priority-wise.
yeah. What are the opportunities? Thank you all of you for that.
Devotee Association.
Shastras. Taking shelter
Sorry?
of Shastra. Taking shelter of Shastra and going deeper into, as Prabhupada says, scrutinizing the study. And he's given, as you said, from Bhagavad Gita to Chaitanya Charitamrita with all the small little books. So you can always take shelter of scriptures, Shastras.
Yeah. What else? Another S, big one.
Services.
Ah. So, dear Prabhu, Matajis, know this, these challenges. Challenges won't go away, it will remain. When we were talking about this stage, right? Ye jo hai. Now, these challenges get to be more and more intense initially, and gradually it starts diminishing, and we come over here, prema. So, ऐसे नहीं है कि अच्छा अभी ठीक है भक्ति का पाथ ले लिया सब कुछ हो गया, now. No, things will remain. But what happens is the transformation of the consciousness, namely in terms of how we respond and react, and how we can act on external stimuli as well as from internal, whatever the mind tells us, whatever games it plays, whatever be that case, that anartha nivriti hoega. So if you're interested on japa, japa is a science, and lifetime we can spend on japa is I think on 15th, 16th and 17th, here Romapad Maharaj is visiting a yatra, and he's doing a japa workshop every year. Towards the ending of the year, November, December, Maharaj comes, and a 3 days workshop on japa, and all practical tips, things like focus or whatever be that case, challenges that we have is discussed. So if you're interested, I can send Ramchandra Prabhu and Ram Tulsi Prabhu the flyer, and just have a look at it. If you have the time available, more than welcome, please join. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. It was a very, very wonderful class. You compacted the essence. You compacted the essence into, everything, these reminders that we need as practicing devotees to, imply these things into our life. So just with your permission, before proceeding to any questions anyone may have, if I can just real quick go over the upcoming events, would that be okay, Prabhuji?
Yeah, please go ahead. Anyone questions or whatever?
Yes, I'll just real quick too, if that's all right.
Yeah, please go ahead.
All right. So thank you again, everyone, for joining today's Wednesday Sangha. So we had a very nice session today with Amritananda Prabhuji, and this upcoming week, there's many, many more festivals. Prabhuji emphasized the holy name and how important it is to our sadhana. And this Saturday, we have a big opportunity at our temple. We have our annual 6-hour kirtan. So hoping everyone can join, everyone can invite their friends and family. We'll be having a very ecstatic session for that. And Sunday, His Grace Nimai Gurna Prabhuji will be giving class. We also have weekly Bhakti Rikshas, Bhagavad Gita reading Monday through Friday, 12 to 12:15, just a short, break from work, etc. And daily morning japa, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. And you can visit our website. We have our ISKCON calendar, programs, events, Ekadashi dates. So for any of those references, you can please visit our website. And again, thank you very much, Prabhuji, for joining our forum. At this time, if anyone has any questions, you can raise your hand, unmute, or send either of us a chat. Sound good, Gaur Mataji?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, please accept my most humble obeisances at your lotus feet. My pranams to all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis assembled here this evening. It was such an amazing class, Prabhu. You put so many things into perspective. A few realizations, a few reflections, and one question that I have. A reflection is, when you said about that LA fitness, whatever can be counted can be improved. This is something I've heard from my Guru Maharaj as well, His Grace Vaisheshika Maharaj. He always says that, and he says that about japa also, that it's so important that you keep a track no matter where you start from. Even if it's 2 rounds, make sure that you're stuck to that 2 rounds, and then you gradually progress, as they give the example in the CrossFit gym, that you keep a track of your gains and then you try to add on to your gains, and that's how you improve your gains. So that was just reminded me of what he says and how he says. Another great point was, Prabhu, those 6 stages of realization, Anandamay, Pranamay, Jnanamay. We've read it in Prabhupada's book, but I think the way today you put it with the 9 stages of devotional service, I guess that makes the whole concept so very clear. At least it did for me. So thank you so much for doing that. Prabhu, I have a question. We know the 9 processes of bhakti, and the first one is hearing. And yes, we do say that they are not kind of chronological. It's not that one leads to another and another leads to another. But I was just thinking that if we have not heard about Krishna enough, how would it be possible for us to come to the stage of smaranam? Or for that matter, if I have not heard about the right process of doing deity service, because there are so many aparads related to deity worship, especially when it comes to Radha Krishna deity worship. So if I have not heard enough and taken enough instructions, would it be possible to go to that? So for me, I was thinking that yes, everything will start from hearing, and then we could progressively go on to other stages. So it would be nice, Prabhu, if you could clarify that.
I'll try to, Mataji. First of all, the slide that you're referring to, it is, I forget also from where I picked it, but whoever is that Vaishnava who has prepared it, all credit belongs to him or her. Now to your question, Mataji, of this, if I haven't started with Shravanam, how could I do anything else over here? Deity worship, whatever. I need to know, right? I just can't be doing. Now, please understand that whatever the fact that we are in Krishna consciousness, whatever stage we are in, is not our doing. We are not the doer. It is the mercy of a Vaishnava. Vaishnava is a conduit where Krishna's mercy flows. Now, if you look at it as what is this definition of mercy? We hear this word around, mercy, mercy, mercy. What is mercy? So, mercy is something, it's an expression of compassion to the undeserving. Meaning to say, to give you an mundane example, let's say I have committed a heinous crime for which the consequence is a death penalty. I have to be hanged for that, correct? However, an authority like the president has the power, the clemency, where he can commute that death sentence. I don't deserve it. I deserve a death sentence, but he can say, "Theek hai, jaane do." Okay, maybe make it a life sentence or something like that. So that is mercy is for the unqualified. Now, The thing which seems to be baffling is that, oh, we have to qualify for mercy, qualify for mercy. What is this meaning? Now, mercy is for the unqualified. Why do I have to qualify to get mercy? Now, what it is said, Romapad Maharaj was asked this question and he gave a very nice answer. Maharaj said mercy is like sunshine. Correct? Sunshine is everywhere. It doesn't discriminate. Whether it's a Brahmana, whether it's a Mlecha, so much so, sunshine is so pure that even something contaminated like stool, it doesn't pollute the sunshine. In fact, the sunshine can dry it up and make it ineffective, so to say. Now, that mercy, when we talk about qualifying, is we, with our choice, this material consciousness and conditioning, choose to remain in the dark basement. And in the dark basement, we are bumping with each other, we are stumbling, we are falling, whatever, this material life that we are going through. So that qualification is the process of climbing the stairs of the basement to come up. That is the qualification. So gurus and sadhu shastras, you can look at shastras like the banister or the railings, the steps, and they're holding a hand. Chal bhaiya aaja. And then you come out into the sunlight. So the sunlight is there. It is our choice, which is not there. So it is because of that mercy. It is not our doing. Nothing is our doing. Even this progress that we make over here, the very fact that I am able to do japa, even imperfectly, is because, of course, we have a free will that we need to do. So the guru is the person who's enabling all this. And we are instrument. So the level of surrender that we do, like they say, just by doing japa properly, everything else is taken care of. All this is included. The entire purport of the Vedas is revealed. Vishnu Smaranam, whatever. Japa as a form of worship. Japa as a form of prayer. Japa is also dasyam. We are executing the order. So the idea of Vishnu Smaranam, okay? And finally, another point to make over here is, Mataji, Krishna is supreme, his will. He doesn't have any restrictions or rules or regulation. He's sitting as Chaitya Guru within us. If he'd like, he can reveal. Jayadvaita Maharaj was asked this question, is knowledge necessary for liberation? To your point, Shravanam. Yes, in our conditioned state, we need to know. But if Krishna wants, he can just decide, okay, this particular jiva. But under given circumstances, he doesn't do it that way. So we have, it's coming through the gurus. That's why when you go out book distribution, you're distributing that mercy. When you go out Nagar Sankirtan, that sound is falling into the ears. Even people who are just walking by, even people who are being ridiculing, they're ridiculed. What to speak of human beings? Even the plants and insects are getting delivered. So it is not sequential, as you rightly said. Neither does it have to follow that in absence of Shravanam, you can't do Vishnu. In absence of Shravanam, you can't do Smaranam. Yet, albeit, Shravanam will help. These are all these aids. And the best for us in this age are these Shravanam and Kirtanam. We focus on that, everything else is taken care of. As to the first slide, Mataji, what Romapad Maharaj says, why we do it. Hare Krishna. I don't know if that answered your question. If not, I can, find out from some Vaishnavas and correspond with you.
It makes all the sense, Prabhu. Yes. I mean, without Krishna's mercy, nothing is possible. But then we follow the instruction of our gurus and shastras. And as you said, Shravanam, Kirtanam are the pillars for our sadhana bhakti. So thank you, Prabhu. That was good. And again, once again, Prabhu, heartfelt thanks for putting this lecture together. This was amazing. Thank you so much.
All glory to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji, for that wonderful question. Any more questions? Last call.
Can I give all of you a homework?
Yes, please, Roji.
I'm a Sunday school teacher, so I have this habit of giving homework. Think about it. Why is Krishna blue? Shyam Sundar, you know, Krishna's original Shyam Sundar. The color of the closest is like a dark rain cloud, grayish blue. Why is Krishna blue? And one of my Sunday school child had asked this. We all adults accept it. Shyam Sundar. Ramchandra is green color. Mahaprabhu is golden color. Radha's mood. Why is Radha Rani golden color? Have you seen anyone golden color? Have you seen anyone green color? Have you seen anyone red color? So think about it, and the answers are there. So what will happen is, my father used to tell me, we'll end this. My father used to tell me, of course, aajkal to you have everything is available on that little cell phone of yours, right? But when we were growing up, there were no cell phones, there were no computers. So if there was a word we didn't know, we had to ask dad or mom, and they used to say, open the dictionary and find it. So you had to go to the dictionary and open it and read it, and then that stayed. So that effort of doing that. So similarly, you know, there are so many things in our Krishna conscious lives, so many, believe me, Prabhus, Matajis, just to become conscious. Look around. Look around. It was raining 2-3 days back, and there was an earthworm on my driveway. You know, earthworm, what they call in Hindi, Keeda, rengta hua matti mein keeda, you know. That fellow was crawling over there, and I had to go. So I picked it up with a stick and put it to the side. And I was just thinking, this thought came back. You know, in Bhagavad Gita, there is that verse, right? Pandita Samadarshana. I forget what it is. Anyway, that you see a dog, a brahmana, a chandala, a dog eater. And I thought, he's my brother. Form is different. Same of Krishna. So literally everything can remind you of Krishna. Literally. But we just go through life. So please find this and you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed. It's so beautiful, the answer.
Hare
Thank
Krishna,
you,
Prabhu. It's kind of funny that you mentioned that question, because just a few days ago I heard the reason from a very senior devotee here in Alachua, but I'm not gonna be the spoiler for other people. Let them do their homework.
Thank you,
and I
everybody.
tried picking up the earthworm too. They are so jumpy, but once I was trying to do that too. I went to drop my kids to school. I was coming back and it had rained and there was this earthworm. I wanted to put it back on the but they would jump so much, and I had to say, little Jiva, calm down. It's for your betterment. I don't want anybody to trample over you. So, but they get so jumpy, but somehow I was able to do that. So thank you so much, Prabhu, for making us realize these things, that these small little things are so important to keep our smaranam strong. Hare Krishna.
Thank you again so much, Prabhuji. Mataji very rightly said that was a very needed, spiritual push. You encompassed everything, and thank you again. We hope we can have you on this forum again very soon. And again, next Wednesday, same time, same place, 8:30 onwards, we'll have another class. We're hoping to see you all this Saturday at our Kirtan Festival and this Sunday and our Sunday program. Thank you again, everyone, for joining. With this, we can conclude the night. And if everyone unmute.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.